Okay, so going into this run, I wasn't anticipating trying to do this type of challenge or whatever. In fact, you'll see, like, partway through, I took a squirrel because I was thinking about trying to do a squirrel run where I just have a bunch of squirrels on my team, but that hasn't worked out so well because it turns out squirrels are terrible, and I would not recommend taking them. So instead, I just ended up doing this unique challenge. Now, you might be able to guess what kind of build that, like, would be able to achieve this kind of thing. I think realistically there's only two. It would either be a squad that scales a lot or just like a super strong summoning squad that's early on. So it's one of those two. I guess that's like a. I don't know if that's technically a spoiler if I'm giving two possibilities. I really doubt it. There's like two possibilities for so many things, and it wouldn't be a spoiler if I just told you those possibilities, right? But it's a pretty standard otter start, not like insane RNG for the otters, but pretty good. And get a kangaroo as a tier 3, also not too bad. It's much better than a camel. I mean, camel's just so bad. I would not recommend taking camel. But kangaroo, it's pretty good in arena, I would say. You're going to run into some like horse builds that you might be able to beat otherwise that you wouldn't if you had a kangaroo. I decided to take a swan. It's if you're going for a food build, which normally doesn't involve squirrel, you would just go for like cat or seal or something, then you do kind of want a swan. I think it really helps out in trying to roll for the specifically good foods because I mentioned this in another video, but like if you want to buy 3 foods, you only have one reroll to do that, and so your odds of finding good foods just are not that high. But if you have like a level 2 swan, suddenly you got those extra 2 rerolls, and that's much better odds. 3 rerolls instead of 1 is just much better. So Parrot is honestly one of the best units in the game now. There's just so many different purposes that I think you just kind of take it and you'll find a use for it eventually. Usually you can try to go for ox. Parrot ox is really good. And then on like tier 4 you can go for parrot deer. And then on tier 5 you can go parrot turkey. So it's just like so many possibilities that honestly are extremely good tempo and will help you win those rounds. It at least helped me draw that one, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. But you also don't want to make the mistake of keeping kangaroo too long, I think. So, again, it can work in arena, especially if you get like a level 2 kangaroo and maybe get like a penguin, then sure, you can keep it around. But normally, I tried to sell it off pretty early, and this was a perfect opportunity. Level 3 otter is actually great luck. I changed my mind. We got very lucky with the otters. And now you can see just the stats on your team, they're just very high because of Otter. And I think they need to nerf this, but, will they actually listen? I have no idea. Like, it's not like the devs will just do everything perfectly, I guess. I'm sure they're trying their best to balance out the units in the game, but there's still so many things that I feel like are so much worse than others that are pretty much never worth taking. For example, squirrel. It feels terrible. I mean, there might be a very specific situation if you have like 2 pairs frozen or something and you want to buy the squirrel that turn. Sure, but like the amount of times I've actually bought a squirrel, I could look in the statistics actually. It's got to be like less than 5 times. Except now that I've been trying to do arena runs, it's actually going to skyrocket. And maybe it'll be like my bow spot tier 6, or tier 4, not tier 6. So turtle, just always take turtle, right? Pretty much. I mean, it's actually, you don't always want to take turtle. So the thing about saying always is that it's not a very good thing to say. Most of the time, you shouldn't say always. But, so the parrot deer didn't even work out that time, but if you have a bunch of weak things, you don't really want to take melon armor. You just want melon armor for your strong units, right? Or, again, it's like, I guess you want like melon for turkeys and stuff to prevent snipes. That also is pretty good. So I bought a bunch of cans there, and now the shop units are very strong, and I'll be able to pretty much replace my team or just like buy onto the other units and just gain really significant stat boosts. But there was that a turtle that spit out like a level 3 sheep? I don't even remember what just happened there. I don't know. Level 3 sheep, pretty crazy. I wouldn't usually go for that personally. I'm not a big fan of the sheep, but here I was actually again looking for more squirrels, but instead I see a turkey and I decide, well, we do have parrot deer, so it seems like a good opportunity to go for that, and so that's what I did. And now we got a half decent summoning build, but we have this random squirrel that does nothing on our team. That shouldn't really matter too much. But if you want to go summoning, I usually recommend just going like selling everything on your team. You usually don't want to keep anything. Even if it's like a decently statted unit with melon armor, I still usually prefer selling it to get something that just works well with summons. And again, parrot turkey is just great. That's like, so we had parrot deer, which helped us out a lot. Now we can transition to parrot turkey. Parrot is just such a good unit, and I also got a whale. I think a lot of people sleep on the whale, but whale deer is certainly a very good strat, and like it's still turn 10 and I'm still taking it. It's just that good. And then I happen to get a tiger, which is just very lucky, but like now we have the perfect summoning team. And I'll just go ahead and like say it here, this is just the team that I leave. This is it. I do nothing else on this team. By the way, the dolphin didn't even snipe because the whale had higher attack from the turkey buff, so that was just very generous. But here I'm like, our team is so good. Let's just try ending turn and seeing if I can win the 6 rounds in a row with this team. A team that I ended with turn 10. And this is like before tier 6s are even unlocked. I don't know why the screen is just black there. I guess the game took its time loading, but that's okay. And so tiger, whale, deer, how does it work in case you don't know? The whale spits out 2 deer because of the tiger, and then one of the deer also spawns 2 buses because of the tiger. So really we're getting 3 extra spawns. We're getting 2 buses and a deer, so it's very good. And as you can see, the splash attack does a lot, and also just the base stats of 17/17s is just very high. So it's really just like one of the most optimal summoning teams. I'll say there's potential for other better ones. I haven't really calculated it, but you can see like the difference here. They have a fly, but it doesn't even matter because like our stats are just so much higher because of parrot turkey instead of just a single turkey. And we have level 2 parrot, level 2 turkey. At this point, if you do want to improve your team, usually you just want to buy parrots and turkeys for the extra stats. The other things don't really matter too much. But I guess if you want to, you can level up the tiger and the whale for like just that little bit of extra stats. You can see how much it's just destroying teams. Without changing anything, this is turn 15, and it's just like we went 5 turns without doing anything. We wasted 50 gold, have the same exact team. It didn't even matter. We were just like so far ahead that this team won. Like, I mean, it's pretty obvious to see here. It's incredible. Summoning builds are just so good for the turns that are like 10 to 15. They will eventually fall off, but like for those turns, they're still pretty good. And if the other players don't have like actually good scaling, you can still beat them with just leveling up the things that you have. But anyway, that's this video.